Welcome to the last event of the San Pancho International Flor y Canto Literary Festival. As many of you know, and if some of you don't know, it's okay, but the Flor y Canto is not only San Pancho's only homegrown literary festival. This is a literary festival that was started here in La Misión by Alejandro Murguia, this city's first Latino poet laureate. It was created to celebrate this neighborhood's deep literary history, a history that continues today with new poets, new writers. Many of them I see in the audience. It's a beautiful thing, as well as the veteranos. So this neighborhood has a long history of that literary lineage, and this festival is a celebration of it. And it is an honor that we're ending it with this poet that we're honoring tonight, who we'll get to shortly. I do want to just take a moment to acknowledge the Flor y Canto committee that does this. This is a group of Las poet, writers, artists who volunteer their time, who do not get paid. Some of them are doing this as conditions of their parole. I won't mention who. No, I'm good. But this is something that we do to honor the neighborhood. It's also something we do out of love, a deep love for each other, for the literature that is here, for the literature that is part of our culturas. I know you know this one here. This is a neighborhood literary hero. This here is Norman Zelaya. By far the most dangerous member of our group. This is one here. I have been crying more than fucking the Butler and Batman. This session has been beautiful. This is Maria. This is the future of the Flor y Canto. This people right here. Many of you know him as the Pan Dulce poet. Many of you know him as an amazing educator, the heart. There's so many things. He's the unofficial handyman of the bookstore, which means whenever he comes and fixes something, he breaks two other things. This person here is responsible for bringing a lot of us into this. So this is Ricardo Tavares. This is one of the hearts of the Flor y Canto. This is someone who knows better than to write poetry. This is someone who loves poetry, who stole Naomi Quinones' book from her own teacher. But this is our light, this is our luz, this is our colores. This is Amanda Ayala. This is the second heart of the group. Yeah. This is a poet, this is a filmmaker, this is an hermana, this is a comrade. This is Lourdes Figueroa. This one here, he loves being photographed. He loves being photographed. He wears vagina t-shirts all the time. And he's one of the most amazing poets that we know in this Pocho family. And he's also what you call a fucking grounding force for us. If we got some shit we need to work out, if we got some tech we need to do, if we need someone to help, this one right here is there. Pisses me off how good he is at everything. This is the one and only Hector, son of Hector.
And last but not least, a co-owner, along with Canto, Medicine for Nightmares, our hub. This has become a de facto cultural center in the neighborhood for writing, for poetry, for nonfiction, for organizing, for music, for dancing, all kinds of things, right? So this person makes it possible, has continued to put in the work from way back in the 90s. We were young and beautiful, energetic. He continues to have that in his poetry, in his writing. He continues to stand for what is just and for what is necessary and for change. And he brings that knowledge and, dare I say, stability.
I've never been called out.
Right, so un aplauso for Josiah.
Just one quick plug, there's a donation basket in case our crying up here has moved you at all. These are crocodile tears. No, but that's, so if you can, donate what you can. You get a sticker created by our artistic director, Amanda Ayala, if you donate. So this helps us keep this going, y'all. Like, we're volunteers and we also solicit. We don't have any big sponsorship. Right? This is the way we do it with a basket. Little Catholic guilt, we pass it around. Pass it around, make them guilty. Give it to them. Yeah, so, whatever you can donate, it'd be beautiful. But, this is why we're here. We're here for another reason entirely. We're going to give this to Norman so we can get this going.
So one more time, un fuerte aplauso por el comité. Everybody. So as has been the tradition, this is the culminating event for the San Francisco International Flor Canto, where we recognize someone who has given back to the community. As we often talk about, much of what we do as artists is about the community. We had a conversation about the Flor Canto, and it exists because it is rooted and based in this community. And it continues to sprout up because the community needs it. Much as artists, we need the community. So tonight we honor someone. First up, we have an opener though. And again, maybe not again, I know I've said it many times, I'm born and raised here in San Francisco, in the Mission, so I'm always particularly pleased to find another homegrown artist. Because growing up, I was the only one with my homeboys, talking about writing. And homeboys are cool, down, but you can't, talk shop, or they're all holding 40s. So, but as an adult, and finding my voice, finding these people along the way, made such a difference for me. Because I didn't think it was happening, right? So, this person, homegrown, and as we're planning, many heads, so we're trying to be organized. Oh no, so we're going to normally we need to get the names of the performers to put it on the event on Medicine for Nightmares. What was the name again? Oh, Prado Gomez. Prado Perez, no. Prado Gomez. And then no, see, it's happening again already. Then Josiah jumps in. Yeah, Perez Prado was a Cuban bandit. You're like, no, yes, it was, but what's the name again? Prado Gomez. Okay. Perez Gomez, no. No, wait a minute. Perez Prado was the gift. Yes, we already got to that. Who's performing? Prado Gomez. Okay. So I got it. Do you? Read it back to me. Lucas, read it back to me. Like, put it in the chat. What did you write down? And she wrote down Perez Prado. No! It was like a Chicano version of Who's on First. Prado Gomez. Let me type it into the fucking chat. Let's get this straight. You know, so obviously we have to meet many times to organize this wonderful event, and you know, somehow we were able to make it to the end. But it is my pleasure to bring up first a mestizo American man of trans experience, born and raised in the Mission, a proud staff member of the Shanti Project, where he is facility and pet food bank director at their Mission campus. He is a product of the sex-positive Politeatro Queer Latinx Menudo of the 90s in San Francisco. For real. He is sometimes a writer and always a singer of various genres of music, including Mexican rancheras, gospel, classical, and R&B. He currently makes his home in El Sobrante with his multi-species family. Please put your hands together for Perez Prado. No! No! Prado Gomez!
Thank you. Can you hear me all right? All right. Not for no reason, Perez Prado. Seriously, that's one of the reasons I chose my name. Because my grandmother was a big fan of Perez Prado. And it just so happens that her parents, her mother and her grandparents' last name was Prado. So that's why I chose my church name. But we're not here for me today, we're here for Kathy. And I've known Kathy for a long time, since before I was born. Since I was a teenager, and she was just a little bit of a teenager, so a few years. We've known each other for a few years now. And when I was younger and she was younger, we were twins. People would confuse us for each other, including people in her family. So that was when my hair was up here, not down here. But no matter, you know, we go back, and I am still writing now in no small part because of Kathy. And a few of the pieces I'm going to read today came about in a cohort of writers that have continued writing that came together. One of the good things that came out of COVID is I was able to participate in this writing program that would have been locally based in Santa Barbara, but was online because of COVID. So for 4 years now, we've been writing together. And like I said, a few of those pieces are going to be here today. So as much as things change, some things stay the same. And the things that stay the same between me and Kathy, other than her inspiration for me as a teenager and growing up and looking up to her, is to be like the best kind of butch brown dyke that I could be. I failed at that, but that's okay. It wasn't her fault. Also, as a writer, she's inspires me so much. Her love for the word, her love for the mission, her love for family, and always as herself as a proud brown queer woman. Is always an inspiration to me. And so, in that vein, the first piece I'm going to read is a piece that I actually wrote very recently it was requested of me for the Pulse Massacre Memorial. That was on June 12th. It happened in Castro. And the request was that I although it was for that particular event and that particular one of many unfortunate, sad, violent events that primarily impacted the queer Latino community in Florida and in Orlando. What was requested of me is that if I could speak to uplifting trans people of color. So that's what I did. And that's what this piece is about. So I'll start with that, since something I should still share with Kathy is being brown and queer from the mission, always. So. Kapai Mahu, Wewa, William Dorsey Swan, Miss Billy Cooper, Miss Major Griffin Gracie, Nikki, Tita Ida Kalma, Cecilia Chung, Leslie Feinberg, Morningstar Basil, Janetta Johnson, Joanne Keaton, Kumahina Le Moana, Juan Kalu, Michelle Rockinghorse Garcia, Max Valerio, Yesenia Lewis, Bravo Renteria, Carla Brothers, Willie Wilkinson, Claudia Carrera Lara, Carla Gay, Bambi Salcedo, Storm Miguel Flores, Honey Mahogany, Landa Lakes, Tina Aguirre, Teresita La Campesina, Melanie Laneque, Miss Bobby Jean Baker, Felicia Elizondo, Christopher Lee, Guadalajara, Banco Brown. My name is Flor. I'm a mixed indigenous, also known as mestizo, American man of trans experience. Third generation of 5, native San Franciscan, born and raised in the Mission. I am the son and formerly and forever the only daughter of Madeline Gutierrez and Ramon Gomez. June 12th was the 10th anniversary of my mama's transition to the ancestors. June 28th will be the 10th anniversary of my papa's transition to the ancestors. My mom was born here in San Francisco, grew up in the Bayview, Potrero Mission District. She grew up steeped in and shaped by the culture of 1950s America. My dad was from a small village in Guadalajara, grew up in Tijuana, made his way here to San Pancho by the time he was 21. I miss my parents every day. But I feel so very fortunate to have been their child. They were not perfect, as none of us are, but they did their best, and for me, their best is more than enough. I tested their professed unconditional love by coming out to them not once, but twice. Although she didn't initially understand, my mother didn't turn away from me when I revealed myself as a baby butch dyke, and then as a man. When my father saw me on the news 35 years ago speaking to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors about the struggles facing queer youth, his main concern was for my safety. 10 years later, when I told him that I was not his daughter, but his son, his response was simple yet profound. I see you. My parents' unconditional love has given me an unshakable sense of self-worth. I'm proud to descend from them and from the many others before them. In addition to my family of origin, I'm proud to be the descendant of others with whom I may not share genes, but with whom I share an identity. The list of names I read was a mere sampling of powerful, trailblazing, history-making, talented, complicated, and courageous trans people, specifically trans people of color, who lived and live in what we now call the United States, many here in the Bay Area. They were and are trans by many names, including but not limited to Mahu, Hamana, gender, transsexual, transgender, drag queen, butch, gender nonconforming, genderqueer, hair fairy, non-binary, and two-spirit. They were and are healers, artists, lawyers, authors, filmmakers, social workers, civic leaders, activists, rebels, singers, educators, advocates, parents, grandparents, siblings, cousins, big mamas, aunties, theos, nibblings, friends, and lovers. From Tapai Mahu bringing gifts of healing to Hawaii, to William Dorsey Swan surviving the horrors of the American institution of slavery to throw the first drag ball to the United States in the 1880s, to Miss Major Griffin Gracie, my dear friend and elder, who was one of the many queers resisting police brutality at the Stonewall Inn on that fateful night in 1969, the resistance riot that we now mark with parades and celebration and pride. Their lives, and in the case of Guadalajara and Banco Brown, their deaths have paved the all too often bloody road to liberation. I share their names to remember those who died, to recognize those that are living, and hopefully introduce or remind everyone of their existence and impact on our lives, whether we are aware of it or not. But I especially share their names as inspiration and an emotional buoy for my trans siblings. When the people in our world, in our country, in our city, in our community, and in our family reject us, when certain LGBs try to sever the T+, distance themselves from us, align themselves with bigots because they forget or deny the fact that although the T+ are often the most visible and the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest to pick off, we are not the only fruits on the queer tree. You best believe the bigots won't forget who the fruits are when their hate needs a new target on which to project their insecurities and fears. When they try to erase our existence through legislation, when they try to kill us slowly through neglect or denial of access to life-saving medical treatments that others can access without question. When they try to kill our spirits by intentionally misgendering or dead naming us. When they attempt to erase us from history. When they try to bury us figuratively or literally. I want you to remember that they will not succeed. I want you to remember that you come from a long and enduring line of ancestors that reaches back to the dawn of humanity. You are not the first, you are not the only, and you will not be the last of us. When things feel bleak and overwhelming, I offer and extend to you the unconditional love gifted to me from my parents. I want you to know that you are worthy of life and of love. I am so grateful that you are here, as you are. I see you.
Before you go, and I might be my hearing, but is there a way for this sound to be a little better?
Should I put it closer to my face? Is that the issue?
Because it might just be me, but it's fun to hear. Okay. I mean, I can hear, but I thought it was a little bit, it could be better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to speak up. Sorry. Practice my theater training. So these next two pieces I wrote separately, as I mentioned, in the Califas de Comunidad offshoot group. One of them actually during 2020 and the next two over the last couple of years. They were written separately, but they're kind of related, so I'll read them together. It's usually the full moon, bright and shining, not merely a reflection of the sun, but its own life-giving light, compelling us to stare at it in awe, giving its face. That's who's usually to blame or credit, depending on your perspective, for igniting the change, the transformation, the metamorphosis, the transition from man to beast, from protector to predator, from one of us to something else, not us. The magical moon that dances with the oceans watches us with our ancestors' eyes, illuminates secret messages, shows us passages to other worlds. The full moon, the man in the moon, the rabbit moon, grandmother moon, Koyoshauki. For me, it was not the presence of the moon, but its absence. The new moon, the darkness, wherein lies all possibility. It was the lack of my moon, my humble and grateful, but definitive termination of her presence that ushered in my metamorphosis into the beast that is the man. As my moon grew thinner, my skin grew thicker, my hair grew coarser, sprouting out across my body, from my shoulders to my toes, covering my face. My bones grew denser, my muscles and veins rippled and engorged. My voice oozed down from an angelic sweetness to an enthralling growl. I lifted my nose to the wind, and the air smelled different. I blinked my eyes to adjust to the new way of seeing, and the hunger that I didn't think was possible consumed my thoughts and sometimes my actions. It was overwhelming. It was exhilarating. There was no terror or shame in realizing that I had become one of them. There was only profound relief in knowing that I had become myself. I wanted to agree with her, but I couldn't. I mean, yes, I agreed with the concept in general. Yes, I believe what she said is true. It just wasn't true for me. It was the we that tripped me up, the we that tied my tongue. She was right. Women's bodies are beautiful, and women should love their bodies and be proud of them. I just couldn't agree to the we, to the our. I could not, in good conscience, say yes out loud anymore. I could not continue with the deception that we were the same, that we were sisters in butch vagueness. I'd said the lie out loud many times before for many years. My favorite thing about my body is that I'm a woman. I hoped that saying it out loud and in front of others, in front of other young women, would make it true, but it didn't. It only deepened the deception and lie. It only made the perceived betrayal that much more palpable later. I wanted it to be true. I wanted the mask of womanhood to fit, not be a mask at all. The seeds of my feminism had been planted early by my mama and aunties and grandmas. nurtured in its depths and breadth, expanded by the queer women of color who shepherded me into adulthood and shaped my foundation of beliefs and vision for what gender liberation could look like. It has been solidified by the years of condescension, limitation, objectification, invisibility, dismissal, exclusion. I knew and know in my bones the struggle and beauty of being a brown girl, a brown woman in this world. And yet, I still felt like an outsider, like an interloper, like a stealth spy in spaces that were meant to be safe for women. Safe for me to explore being a different kind of woman. Safe to love and celebrate myself. Ultimately, safe enough for me to realize that my way of being a different kind of woman was not being a woman after all. I have scars all over my body. Most of them are small, faint, barely noticeable. Small reminders of careless moments. The one down the middle of my top lip that's hidden by my mustache. The result of my naive 14-year-old attempt to introduce my sister-in-law's miniature poodle, Benji, to my semi-feral cat, Snowball. Snowball was minding his own cat business, sunbathing peacefully on the top of the fence when I inserted my stupid human curiosity. Snowball was aiming for Benji's face, but got mine instead. When I went inside and in semi-shock looked at the slice in the bathroom mirror, I almost fainted at the clean split my lip separated like a forked tongue. Then there are the faint, jagged beige spots just above my inner right ankle. One of the many times that I insisted on doing it all by myself at work. Didn't think ahead far enough and assumed the cubicle wall was more secure than it was. Found out it wasn't as gravity did its thing. The small protruding latch on the top scraping my leg as it made its way down to land on the top of my booted foot. I saw it happening but could do nothing to stop it, as my hands were full, holding up the other cubicle wall. Both are minor, reminders of silly carelessness. Both are inconsequential. Then there are the other scars, the ones that are usually covered but unavoidable when exposed. The ones that I chose not once but twice. The proof of my metamorphosis. Up until about 5 years ago, these scars might have and did prompt curious questions. How'd you get those scars? I always wanted to give an answer that was embellished, yet somewhat true. They're from a fraternity initiation. Makes it sound kind of intense or spiritual, like scars and the offerings of the life-giving flesh at Sundance. And it was definitely intense, absolutely spiritual, and most certainly life-giving. The transformation of my breasts into my chest. A picture of my brown, bare-chested father was the guide for the surgeon's hands. So it's kind of true. My chest scars are a symbol of my entry into a brotherhood of sorts. A brotherhood that lived in the shadows, mostly unseen and unheard of, invisible. That was then. This is now. Now my scars are more familiar to the masses. And although visibility is a good thing, being seen and recognized and considered can be validated. Visibility also makes you an easier target. Like having darker skin, there is both a freedom and a burden of being visibly trans. But passing, being stealth, always carries with it the threat of discovery, even if you aren't intentionally hiding anything. The rage that comes when people feel they have been deceived is terrifying. These scars, unlike the others, have potentially deadly consequences. But, like my puppy, I bear my brown chest proudly and without apology at every chance I get. Fuck the consequences. Now, this could not be a reading honoring Kathy without me reading a piece around